up on Focal Point. Spartans gather to support one another and stand together during unprecedented times. A celebration at the Rock brought students together to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. And we take a look back at the Spartan sports highlights from earlier this week. All this and more. Focal Point starts right now. Good morning and welcome to Focal Point. I'm Mackenzie Decker.
And I'm Sydney Kenzer. Just in time for fall, today is Friday, October 13th. We'll be live in Lansing today to give you a look at the upcoming Halloween season and tell you more about what Friday the 13th means.
We'll also look at Indigenous Peoples Day and how MSU celebrated. We'll also have sports. But first, the world news that's hitting close to home. In the days following the Hamas terrorist attack in Israel, the Spartan community gathered at a familiar site on campus to push for peace. On a crisp fall evening on the Michigan State campus,
thank you for joining us tonight.
They met.
We are currently in an extremely unprecedented time.
To bring light to the dark.
It is more important now than ever that we use the community around us to support one another.
4 different Michigan State student groups gathered in the middle of campus for a candlelight vigil.
Feeling at a loss that we can't be there to help our brothers and sisters in Israel is extremely painful.
About 200 people needed this night to share their feelings after Hamas terrorists invaded Israel, the day after the 7-day Jewish festival of Sukkot. Hundreds of Israelites died in the attack.
We thought that the most important thing was doing an immediate response to this.
Alex Meissen helped organize this vigil. She knew it would help bring people together.
There are so many Jews on this campus who are feeling lonely, who are feeling scared, and we knew that the thing that would help would be to come together.
So that nobody had to go through this alone.
Even though there might be terrible things to come, we have each other in our community, and no one's ever going to take that away from us.
Community, a word that has brought all of these students here tonight to show support from over 6,000 miles away.
I could have never imagined in a million years the type of support that we received tonight.
If there is a message from tonight, this group says it's to stay resilient, stay positive, and to keep praying for peace. On the Michigan State campus, I'm Mackenzie Decker, Focal Point News. Jewish students at Michigan State say they are fearful as attacks on Israel continue and new information is being released. Even from across the world, they say they are hurting too. An emergency protest at the Lansing Capitol was held in support of raising awareness for the mistreatment of Palestinian people following the violence in Gaza. Sarah Polis spoke with a member from Michigan State University's chapter of Students United for Palestinian Rights to give us an in-depth look.
I'm here at the state capitol with Omar, one of the organizers for the rally that is about to happen. Omar, can you tell us a little bit about this event?
Yeah, so we're here today to stand up for the Palestinian civilians who are currently in Palestine, who have been suffering from apartheid and for the past about 70 or so years. We're here to stand against any acts of violence and any killing of innocent lives, and we're here for purely just humanitarian reasons and for the Palestinian people and for the innocent people here today.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you organized this event?
Yeah, so honestly, it was a last-second thing. About 5 days ago, when the events kind of went down, all of us were kind of in a state of panic, hearing about what's been going on, and a lot of the people here really wanted to make a difference. And so we started thinking together, and we came up with the idea of having some kind of peaceful protest to kind of express how we feel and to kind of allow the media to see the other side of what's been going on over there.
Right, okay, gotcha. And where can viewers see and learn other information?
Yeah, so if they want to follow us at SUPR at MSU, so Super MSU, which stands for the Students United for Palestinian Rights. Over there we post a lot of content talking about a lot of these statistics and a lot of the crimes that are going on in Palestine.
All right, well thank you for your time. Without further ado, I'm Sarah Polis with Focal Point News.
Thank you, Sarah. Last night brought in over 100 people to support the cause and to support one another. Now we join Focal Point Sydney Kenzer in the newsroom live for an interview.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Joining us is Matthew Zivian, the Vice President of External Affairs for the Jewish Student Union, to talk about how Jewish and Israeli students are feeling. Matthew, we know many Jewish students are hurting as the war begins between Israel and Palestine. How are you doing?
Personally, I've never been more scared to be a Jewish person around campus. This is a very fearful time for me, and it takes a lot of bravery, I'd say, right now for me to wear my Jewish star out as much as I do.
How is your community feeling?
We're all incredibly scared. We are all in a time of mourning right now, as we all have family and friends over there in Israel. I spent some time in Israel this summer. I met so many amazing new people that I was able to reach out to, and unfortunately more than a few have told me about how they have missing family. Some have already been confirmed to be dead. To accurately describe how we are all doing as a community on this campus, it would just have to be mourning.
You went to a meeting last night. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, a bill was brought to a committee meeting in Michigan State's student government by the Arab Cultural Society, and this bill would serve as nothing more than to further divide our campus, regardless of the intentions. Whenever bills that are brought that condemn the state of Israel, anti-Semitism increases. We see this on college campuses across America. This would put Jewish students at risk for harassment in classes and walking around, and I heard some very, very troubling things at this meeting. I was the only Jewish representative in the room, as by and large the Jewish community did not feel safe attending this meeting, and even then I had a security guard with me from the East Lansing Police Department. I heard a lot of anti-Semitic rhetoric that night. By far the worst was the representative Saba for the Arab Cultural Society, suggesting that there were Jewish students on this campus who were faking their trauma and faking their fears. That is quite possibly the most hurtful thing I have ever heard in a student government setting, let alone just at this university in general. I was at a community this summer where reports are coming out of those who have been killed in the same place I was just standing. To suggest that I'm faking any of my trauma and any of my sorrow is nothing short of offensive. And it is so disheartening to hear that from another community that we want to work with and collaborate so we can support all students on this campus, regardless of if they are Jewish or Muslim or Israeli or Palestinian or anybody just looking to support one another. It makes things kind of difficult.
Now, our last question, Matthew, how is Jewish leadership supporting their students?
We are taking as many measures as we realistically can. We have an amazing support staff at the Hillel, which is the Jewish Student Services Center at Michigan State. Staff is always there to lend a listening ear. Our e-board for the Jewish Student Union has been incredibly communicative with the Jewish community on campus. And we're also taking other more practical means in terms of upping security at any Jewish event. We have a Shabbat, a community healing Shabbat dinner tonight, and there will be a security presence there.
All right, that's all the questions we have for you today. Thank you for joining us, Matthew. Back to you, Mackenzie.
Thank you, Matt and Sydney. Coming up on Focal Point, we take a look at this last week of Spartan sports, and we get an inside look into how Lansing is getting ready for spooky season. But first, how Indigenous students at MSU are celebrating their history. Stay right there. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Focal Point.
Monday was Indigenous Peoples Day, a holiday that honors and celebrates Indigenous American people and their history. The North American Indigenous Student Organization gathered at the Rock on Michigan State's campus with a theme of healing. The celebration included dancing, prayer, and speeches. Painted on the rock were the words, "We are still here." NASO encouraged people from all backgrounds to attend and learn more about Native culture and to further educate themselves on the history of MSU's land ownership. We are still here. 4 words that lingered in the air and reflected the need to advocate for Indigenous people.
Now a part of campus that might be the quietest has introduced some noise over the summer, and Focal Point's Ethan Hunter has the story.
It's a quiet spot on the Michigan State campus, where you'd expect to commune with the daisies and the snapdragons, maybe even a pineapple.
We try to teach people how then they can take something they learn here at the garden and take it out into the world and make the world a better place.
What you wouldn't expect to find among the sea of colorful petals is black and white ivory. Botanical gardens have been a part of the Michigan State campus for 150 years.
150 years of what we call people, plants, and place. That's kind of integral to our mission.
But the idea of music in the gardens was planted 5 years ago and has grown ever since. Rick Lewandowski remembers walking through this garden when he was a student.
Well, I didn't spend a lot of time in these gardens, but I did walk through them from time to time, and I remember just seeing all the plants, and it's still beautiful. We brought our kids here. Yeah, we have pictures of our 2 children.
He's back for a special occasion and celebrating a milestone of his own this weekend.
1973, I graduated as an undergrad, and they had a 50th celebration for those of us in the class of 73.
Rick is walking among plants that share a similar Spartan history to him, like a tree grown from a pretty special acorn.
Interim President Woodruff came down to the garden, planted a tree for us. It's a native tree. It's a swamp white oak, Quercus bicolor. And it's actually from just outside of Mary Mayo. There are 2 gigantic swamp white oaks there. So it's actually an acorn from one of those.
You never know what you'll find along the Red Cedar. Sometimes it's a football game, an alumni event, or maybe it's a concert in the garden.
That people just don't graduate and leave. I mean, it's still a place that's important to them. They want to come back and relive that as best they can.
Thank you so much.
That was the last of the concerts for this year, but Beal Garden expects the series to be back for its 6th season in 2024.
When we think of the Breslin Center, basketball comes to mind, but earlier this week, a crowd gathered for something different. And they came even though the weather wasn't very good. It's all part of the annual Study Abroad event. It's a chance for students interested in Paris and London and other destinations to travel and study. MSU set up over 140 tables with different opportunities. If you decide to study abroad, you are encouraged to plan at least 2 semesters ahead, speak to the financial aid office, and visit the passport services located on the 2nd floor of the MSU library.
Speaking of the Breslin Center, basketball season will soon be underway. Spartans broke records last Friday as they attended the largest iZone campout in history. Every year, MSU basketball fans show their devotion to Spartan basketball teams by camping out overnight at Munn Field. Even with cold and rainy conditions, nothing stopped these avid basketball lovers. Head coaches Tom Izzo and Robin Freilich came out to speak to the fans as they braved the cold and waited for the introduction of the men's basketball team. The men's team will have their first exhibition game Wednesday, October 25th, while the Lady Spartans will have their first exhibition game Thursday, November 2nd.
Speaking of Spartan sports, we'll send it over to the Spartan Sports Report to give us the latest in MSU athletics.
Thank you. It's been an exciting week for sports in East Lansing.
Absolutely. There were a lot of big Spartan victories to look at.
Michigan State hockey opened their season at home against Lake Superior State. Now we're inside Munn Ice for Game 2. Here's senior Jeremy Davidson sending it over to the freshman Artem Levshinov, who finds the back of the net. That's Levshinov's first collegiate goal, as he looked very comfortable in his first series with the Spartans. Now it's freshman Patrick Geary turning it over to the Lakers. Connor Milborn cleans it up and puts it top shelf. Now we're in the third period. Geary makes up for his earlier mistake, sends it to the front of the net, and it's deflected by another transfer, Reed Lebster. And to put the cherry on top, here's assistant captain Carson Dorwart sending the puck into an empty net to get the Spartans their first 2-0 start in 14 years.
On Saturday night, the Michigan State women's soccer team traveled to Ann Arbor to take on 14th ranked Michigan. In the 26th minute, Reagan Dalton's cross finds Bella Najira, who heads it to Jordan Wickus to open up the scoring for a 1-0 lead. Just 10 minutes later, a shot from Emerson Sargent deflects off the hands of the goalkeeper Stephanie Sparkowski straight to Gabby Mueller, who sends it to the back of the net. Spartans up 2-0. The Spartans continue attacking following halftime, with Wickus heading in her second goal of the night off another nicely placed ball from Reagan Dalton to grow the Michigan State lead to 3. In the 89th minute, the Wolverine rally was not enough to surge ahead of the Spartans in the end, and Michigan State took the match 3-2, marking the team's first back-to-back wins against Michigan in program history and their first win in Ann Arbor since 1994. They'll be back on the road this week with a matchup against Indiana in Bloomington on Thursday night at 7. That's all the time we have for you today.
Thanks for watching, and now we're going to send it back to the desk.
Well, Friday the 13th is here, and this one is even spookier since Halloween is just around the corner.
With Halloween on its way, we need to check in with the phenomenon that is known as Spirit Halloween. Focal Point's Ethan Hunter is live at Spirit Halloween in Lansing to tell us how the store is taking over. What have you got for us, Ethan?
Yeah, thank you, Mackenzie and Sydney. I'm Ethan Hunter here live in Spirit Halloween in Edgewood Town Center in Lansing, Michigan, here among the ghosts and ghouls. Now, what you think the most popular costume of the season is going to be, I'm going to ask you that at the end, so give it a little bit of thought. We're going to come back to it. We're going to ask the expert now here on Friday the 13th. I hope none of you have trichstophanophobia. That's the fear of the number 13. Taylor Swift doesn't have that fear. We know that. That's her favorite number. Travis Kelce, also going to be a pretty popular couple's costume, so I hope you've already ordered those. Now, you might not be able to get a Travis Kelce jersey here, but you can get a lot of costumes. I'm here with Cuauhtemoc Vargas. He is the district manager. Now, this store just popped up in August. Could you tell me a little bit about how these Spirit Halloweens just seem to pop up out of nowhere?
So starting earlier in the year, even the fall after stores close, we're already scouting new locations for the following year. We take an empty space that isn't being used anymore, usually from a closed business, and from the time that we receive the keys to the time the store is open is anywhere from only a 7 to 12 day process. So a store goes up very, very fast, and it comes down just as fast.
Right, yeah, no, it seems to come out of nowhere. We're going to take a little bit of a walk through the store. It seems to come out of nowhere and come into all these locations. How many locations are in Lansing?
Lansing has 3 locations. We have Meridian Mall, we have here on Edgewood Boulevard, and then we also have West Saginaw Highway a little bit past the Lansing Mall.
Awesome. Now, I have to ask, who needs this much jug of fake blood? Could you tell me what you might use this for?
People who do haunted houses will buy jugs of blood for decorations. People who will decorate stuff on their lawn with jugs of blood. And if you're buying something and you're doing a group costume and everybody needs some blood because everybody's being a zombie, then you might just share the jug of blood between all of you.
Right. No, I love the jug of blood. Now, you don't only have costumes for humans. I notice over here you've also got some costumes for pets. So here, your pit bull can be SpongeBob. Are the pet costumes popular?
People have been asking for pet costumes for years, and last year and this year we were actually able to help supply some pet costumes. We have a wide variety of pet costumes, from licenses like SpongeBob to some of the scary things or a fire truck.
Right, awesome. Now, I understand that you also have a nice program for kids that you guys do. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so Spirit of Children is a program that started in 2007. Since 2007, $110 million has been donated for partner hospitals around the country. 100% of those proceeds goes towards the Child Life Department in local partner hospitals. Here in Lansing, we happen to have one of those local partner hospitals, and that's Sparrow Hospital. Just a couple days ago, Spirit, through a party for the kids in the child life department who aren't able to go out and celebrate Halloween the way most kids traditionally would. And so it was amazing to be part of that experience and help bring a little bit of happiness to the hospital when things are so turbulent and scary in there.
No, absolutely. It's great. Spirit Halloween just pops up, does some good, and leaves just like that. Now, we have the expert here, so Mackenzie and Sydney, what do you think the most popular costume is? And then we'll get the real answer.
Well, Ethan, we've had some time to think about it, and we think Cowgirl Barbie is going to be taking this season over. Are we right, Ethan? Ethan?
All right, they say it's Cowgirl Barbie. Now, what is the real answer?
Cowgirl Barbie is definitely one of the top costumes this year. Barbie, Wednesday as an Addams Family, and Bluey for toddlers and kids.
Gotta love Bluey the dog. Now, that's all we have here from Spirit Halloween. You can catch it here in this location until November 2nd. Guys, back to you.
That's our show for today. We hope you don't suffer from triskaidekaphobia or have to spell it. Thanks for being here and have a great weekend. That was funny.